Hey, how's it going? My name's Lockie. This is Coast Watch Football, and we are live on a Friday night for a second leg A-League semi-final. Tonight, we'll be finding out who the first team that will be taking their place in the 2023 A-League Grand Final will be Melbourne City, will be Sydney FC. We're going to find out in a couple of hours' time, or potentially longer. Potentially longer, of course. Tonight could go to extra time. But thanks so much, guys, for tuning in. I can see some people jumping in nice and early, which is always good to see. And we're about 15 minutes away from kickoff. Of course, this game being played down at Amy Park, the home of Melbourne City. Cons is in here. How's it going? CCM season, dude. CCM season. How are we feeling about tomorrow night? Of course, we've got the Mariners gear, of course, decked out behind us here. The Frames jersey. We're so keen. Can't wait. Can't wait for tomorrow night. It's going to be a huge occasion. It sounds like it's going to be a sellout. We've just been seeing the ticket numbers just tick down at Central Coast Stadium, so Industry Group Stadium. So can't wait for tomorrow night. But anyway, we've got a semi-final tonight to worry about. We're going to jump into the lineup in a few minutes because we've got some. My eyebrows were raised. Let's just say that. We'll just say that. Tom Lee, how's it going? Regular viewer of these streams, how's it going? Bo Show was in here earlier. We often have a strong contingent, Bo Show going for Melbourne City. We often have a strong contingent of Sydney FC fans. So, I'm curious actually to see how many Sydney FC fans have travelled down for this game too. We did see, I was at the Sydney Melbourne City, the first leg. I should have mentioned that off the bat. Of course, was at the first leg. I did a vlog for that game. It's on the channel if you want to check it out afterwards. It might be linked in the description. I'm pretty sure it is. But yeah, man. Really excited for the second leg, and it's evenly balanced, isn't it? Evenly balanced. CCM season, I feel amazing. I'm leaving an hour early so I can get a seat. That's right, dude. It's gonna be nuts. It's going to be scenes that we haven't seen on the Central Coast in over a decade. It was 2008 when we had our biggest crowd ever against Newcastle Jets. So long ago. Prediction for today. Let's talk about it now, actually. We'll dive in the lineups in a second. But for my prediction, I'm going for 3-1 City tonight, which would mean 4-2 on aggregate. 4-2 on aggregate. Drop your predictions in the chat. I am curious to see what you guys say. I'm curious to see whether anyone's tipping Sydney FC. I think most people, everyone's pretty unanimous in saying that Melbourne City are favourites. They should get the win. And yeah. That's how I'm feeling. They're just too strong. Predicted lineup for tomorrow. I don't think it'll change. I think Mariners haven't changed their lineup for. I can't remember I don't think we've made any changes for like the last 6 or 7 games now, and it's working. So I don't think Mariners make a change. I don't even think. I think even if Irankunda starts tomorrow, a big talking point about the Adelaide Mariners semi-final. I did a YouTube short about it, which I put out today, talking about Irankunda and whether he starts. And obviously, a lot of people talking about Jacob Farrell and that battle between Irankunda and Jacob Farrell, which was a really interesting sort of subplot to the semi-final last week between Adelaide and Mariners. I think even if Irankunda starts, I think Farrell still starts on the bench. I think there's no way you can bench McGarry, especially after that goal he scored last week as well. Some predictions coming in. CCM season coming in with a 4-2 City win prediction. I love it. Big scoreline. Cons says, I think it'll go to pens. Of course, worth mentioning, if it stays as it is 1-1 at the moment, it will go to penalties. So I'm almost expecting Sydney FC to really set up defensively in this game. And we're going to look at that lineup in just a moment now. And maybe that is a bit of a defensive setup for them. Harry Angus is in here. 5-4 City is my guess. It's going to be big. On aggregate, Harry, or for tonight? Dude, I love it. I love the big prediction, though. That's great. Adam, dude, of course. Central Coast Mariners fan. Good to see you tuning in here again, Adam. Some regular viewers of the stream. Cons is in here pretty often as well. There's talk of putting Nestory on the other side to avoid Faz. Yeah, I think it was Mike Milligan, the Adelaide assistant coach, who mentioned that. I mean, look, it's an option, but I highly doubt it because that means you're shifting Craig Goodwin, who is the best player in the competition. If anything, there's a chance that Irankunda might run central Maybe they start Iran Kunda centrally and, Halloran off the right and Goodwin off the left, of course. I don't think there's any way he can shift Goodwin off that left wing. That's his position. He's got that lockdown. But look, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see what Adelaide do. They've got other options, George Blackwood. I think it's more likely that George Blackwood or Luka Jovanovic start for the Reds tomorrow night. Aaron Quarter to come off the bench. 2-0 City, McLaren double. Of course, good talking. That reminds me, that big talking point that has sort of been, going under the radar a little bit of Jamie McLaren doesn't necessarily have the best record in finals. So I'm sure he would love to get on the score sheet tonight. Nicholas is in here. How's it going, mate? Hope you're having a good night, man. True, when Goody's left foot is his blessing. The best left foot in the league. Arguably the best left foot in A-League history. I mean, who else would be up there? With who are the best left footers in the league? I mean, David Carney was very good and he was left footed. I think Craig Goodwin's up there with the best left footer in A-League history. Patrick Zwanzwijk, the centre back for Mariners in their championship winning year in 2013. Somewhere on that signed jersey somewhere. All right, let's talk about some lineups. I want to talk about some lineups, people, because my eyebrows were raised, and I'm telling you right now, City won't be playing this formation. There is no way Melbourne City are playing a back three. Coaches like to do this, I think, just to throw a spanner in the works, but everyone knows they won't be playing a back three. But interestingly enough, there's 3 changes from Melbourne City. I was surprised that they made such drastic changes. I mean, they're not drastic. I shouldn't be too, overzealous. But Nuno Reis starts, but he'll be starting, we expect, at right back, which means Thomas Lamb comes into the back line. So expect that to be a back 4 with Jordy Boss at left back and Nuno Reis playing right back. And then when you look across the midfield, Aidan O'Neill comes in. That's not a surprise. So Florin Berenguer drops out, but as does Richard van der Ven, which was interesting. So it's a very attacking lineup for Melbourne City. Matthew Leckie will probably be playing centrally behind Jamie McLaren, with Andrew Naboot coming in. Andrew Naboot started on the bench in the in the first leg. And of course, Tilio on the left. So 3 changes for Melbourne City. For Sydney FC, the big news for them, the huge news, which we only found out about an hour ago when lineups came out, is that there's no Robert Mack. Robert Mack's injured. Robert Mack, I think, had a hamstring injury or something. He was included in the matchday squad on last night's. He was included. There was no sign that he wasn't going to continue, at least from what I saw. But no Robert Mack. And no Joe Lolly in the starting lineup. Lolly is once again on the bench. But it means Adrian Segacic starts, which is huge. Sydney FC fans have been crying out for Adrian Segacic to get more game time. And he starts. So just one change for Sydney FC. Keep an eye on Adam Lafondra, 6 goals in 6 games. He's been absolutely on fire at the moment. What do you guys make of this lineup? What do we make of it? Person 1201, how's it going? Regular viewer of the streams says, unpopular opinion, I prefer Sydney to win to maximize the crowd for the final. Interesting. Is the finals being held at CommBank? Yes, the grand final is being held at CommBank Stadium in Sydney on Saturday, June 3rd, 7:45 p.m. kickoff. Semi-finals, yes, this is indeed a semi-final, second leg semi-final. Segacic might come to Western Sydney Wanderers. That's the first time hearing it. I mean, look, it wouldn't surprise me. There was another Sydney youngster whose name escapes me from the academy side, from the MPL side, who I think Wanderers are trying to look at bringing across as well. Wanderers are being really smart by just identifying these players in the Sydney FC Academy and just taking them. And the Sky Blues don't seem to be putting up much of a fight in terms of keeping those players. Brock, interesting take, because I love it. I love it for football. In my opinion, it's the stadiums that I've been to, it's one of the best in the country. I love sort of the boxy vibe of it. It creates a really, really good atmosphere. It's hard to compare the Sydney Derby elimination final because there's a much bigger crowd. But I've been to multiple games at CommBank Stadium and Allianz Stadium now. I don't know whether just because Allianz Stadium there's more empty seats because it's just twice the size, but the atmosphere is way better at Combank Stadium than it is at Allianz. Yeah. Sydney should have kept Talbot. I mean, he's had a good season at Melbourne City. That was another one. I mean, Sydney FC are creating a habit of this, aren't they? Of letting good players go. Letting good players go. Talbot going to rivals Melbourne City, who is on the bench tonight. They started the first leg. Neuenhoff, of course, going to their rivals Western Sydney Wanderers. That's true. Brock, that is true. That is true. That is fair enough. I haven't been to Cooper's. Haven't been to Amy Park. Hey, I'm sure both would be great as well. But yeah, I haven't been to a stadium outside of New South Wales. So hopefully next season do some away days. We've got our chamomile tea. Paramount Plus 10 play, of course, available to watch on 10 Bold, free to wear, I believe. If you're viewing in Australia, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Kickoff is just around the corner. If you want to show your support to the live stream and the channel, hit the like button. I appreciate it greatly. Kickoff is just around the corner because the teams are in the tunnel. Sydney FC in their delicious third kit, which what do you guys make of this third kit? It's predominantly black, of course, but the sort of the purple, I want to say purple and orange highlights. I think it looks cool, but it would, you know who? Dude, you know who would suit way better? Perth Glory. Sydney FC's third kit this season would make a killer Perth Glory away kit. It's Perth Glory colors when you look at those purple and orange highlights. Yeah, dude. Like I like the kit. I feel I think it would suit Sydney FC better if it was just the blue highlights, or even, I mean, they used to have on the old logo in the early seasons, they did have orange on that logo, so maybe that's sort of a reference back to that. I don't know. Jamie McLaren focused in the tunnel. Congrats on 2K subs. Thank you. Thanks, guys, so much for subscribing as well. I know many of you guys have been here for quite some time, a couple of years now doing the channel, and I appreciate the support. But yeah, 2,000 subscribers, which is very exciting. Very exciting indeed. What are your thoughts on Boss's move? Fantastic for him, and good choice of club. I mean, we don't know too much about the league that he's going to, obviously, but it's a lower league in Europe. Obviously, it's not one of the top 5 leagues, but you'd expect for him to get some decent game time there. It would have been a different story. Obviously, we can compare it to another young Aussie who headed overseas recently, and Garen Kowal going to Newcastle United, got loaned out, not quite getting maybe the game time that he would have hoped for at Hearts in Scotland. So maybe the same thing would have happened to Boss if he'd gone to, the big room was Manchester City, and then he was more than likely going to be loaned out from there. But he's going to be going to a club where you imagine he'll be getting a lot of game time. I like it, and of course the big story from that is it's the most lucrative player transfer. Australian player transfer from an Australian competition, which is exciting, which is great. Is the Cove there? We're going to keep an eye out for that. Newey Jets coming down to the final tomorrow night. Should be a whole lot of fun. Maddie's here. How's it going, Matt? Says, come on, Sydney. There's always in our live watchalongs, and we've been doing them pretty much every week now for the last few months. There's always a strong contingent of Sydney FC fans. Always is. It's good to see. Dude, I'll tell you what, Sydney FC fans wouldn't have expected their team to get this far. I mean, they're in a second leg where the tie is level against the reigning against the premiers, I should say. They're ones. It's kind of crazy to think that Sydney FC, one good performance away from playing in the grand final, which is crazy, absolutely crazy. teams going through the huddles at the moment. Melbourne City boys, plenty of experienced players in that squad, but Sydney FC, of course, they have plenty of experienced players themselves as well. Brock says, hot take. If City win, they have the grand final win in the bag. Don't think Central Coast Mariners or Adelaide have the quality to stop them. Interesting. I think if anyone's going to stop City, it's Adelaide United. I think Adelaide have shown that from this past season. When you think back to the Reds defeating City pretty convincingly 4-2 at home, and then City, and then it was 3-3 away as well. I'm worried for Mariners coming up against Melbourne City. I think that's going to be a tougher matchup for Mariners. But after we held Melbourne City 1-1 at home in our final regular season home game, I've got a little glimmer of hope. And Mariners are playing so well at the moment, man. So well. Person 1201 says, I don't get how City are so successful, but can't get decent crowds. Well, they're still a growing club, to be fair. They've only been around for 12 years, 12 seasons. Still a pretty relatively young club. We'd love to see more the crowd numbers continue to grow at AAMI Park for Melbourne City. All right. We're about to get kickoff underway. Of course, just got to acknowledge the occasional slight delay here on the live stream, so you might see me celebrate a goal a couple seconds after it happens. Sean Evans, the referee. I do not have good memories of Sean Evans refereeing games when my teams are involved. But here we go. Melbourne City, Sydney FC. We are underway. Kickoff at AAMI Park. I'm excited for this one. Because I've got a feeling it's going to throw up some surprises. I don't think it's going to play out as simple as some people might expect it to. It is 1-1 on aggregate. Sydney FC did a really, really good job in that first leg. They were strong, but Melbourne City were professional as always. But the Sky Blues started really, really brightly in that first leg. Do they start bright here again? Or do they play with caution? Try not to let City break them down. It's going to be interesting to see how the opening 10, 15 minutes of this game plays out. I'm really intrigued. Melbourne City, though, they're going to dominate the possession here, of course, as they always do. It might mean a slight tweak to the shape tactically for Melbourne City as well, with Leckie starting. Last week, it was pretty much like a three-man midfield with Berenguer and Van der Ven and Berisha. But this might suggest it's more of almost like a 4-4-2 with Leckie playing just off the shoulder of Jamie McLaren. So keep an eye out for that for City. Sydney FC fans allowed, says Jessica. I haven't seen them yet. Where is the away bay at Melbourne City games? Is it to the right? Is it like the top right hand corner? Or is it like the bottom left hand corner? It's one of those. Alex in Adelaide. Evening, everyone. Happy A-League Friday. Happy A-League Friday to you, Alex. Thanks for tuning in, mate. Hope you're doing well. Hope you've had a great week. I think today's game will end in a tie and a penalty shootout. We'd love it to go to penalties. I'd love to see a close game. Maxi Burgess. He'll be key. He'll be key for Sydney tonight. Max Burgess has had a good season, but especially with no Mac and no Lolly. I mean, that weakens Sydney. I didn't really get to touch on that pre-game, but Robert Mack had a couple chances last week in that first leg and has been good throughout the season. I'm quite curious to see that Joe Lolly hasn't started once again. I mean, whether he's still carrying a bit of that injury that he sustained 3 weeks ago against Newcastle. Maybe that's still sort of playing into Steve Corica's mind. But it's a huge moment, huge opportunity for a very talented young player in Adrian Segicic to to have a big game in a finals match. What a stage for him. What a stage. Chance for Melbourne City driving forward here. Cut out by Grant. Melbourne City with the early possession, as to be expected. You can see some Melbourne City active supporters on that left-hand side behind the goal as well, making some noise. At the moment, though, total control by Melbourne City. Sydney FC staying very strong and organised in their shape, which is good to see. For Melbourne City, it's going to be all about going through those wide areas, moving the ball with pace. But look, I wouldn't be surprised if the first half does end 0-0. Both teams, it's level at the moment. No one has to chase. Tomorrow's semi-final will be completely different. Adelaide Mariners, I think, is going to be really entertaining once again. But we could be set for penalties. Some of you guys predicting penalties. We could be set for extra time. This could be one of those games when no one scores in the 90 minutes, and we see extra time. Did you know Adelaide had a training session sorry, let's start again. Did you know Adelaide had a training session on Central Coast Stadium this Savo? Yeah, they Carl Vert mentioned that, of course, in his press conference today. Tarnley says City 3-4-2-1 is the predict. Let's pull up that. Let's also pull up that graphic that we were looking at earlier off Google here. It does look when you look at it on the field, it does appear to be a back four. You can see Nuno Reis playing as that right back, and I'm not sure how much of a wing back Matt Leckie is anyway. So even though it's they do suggest that 3-4-3 on the graphic, it does appear to be that almost that 4-4-2. They usually do play a 4-3-3 Melbourne City. Sometimes shift one of those midfielders more advanced. Troy's here. I hope you've had a good week, Troy. Good to see you. Says, hey, Lockie, my prediction is 3-2 City. Go Mariners for tomorrow. Can't wait to be there. Dude, Troy, we are so keen. I've been watching like all like the replays. It's been good that they've been putting up, the what do they call it? Like the keep up rewind or whatever it is, where like they on YouTube and stuff, and watching old replays of Mariners finals games from years ago. And it's getting me excited, dude. I'm so pumped. Just the atmosphere tomorrow night is going to be great too. I think, considering that Central Coast, especially over those years where we really struggled a few years ago now, our low crowd numbers was something that really characterized that era. And, after all these hard years, it's all led to this, you know what I mean? It's been a decade in the making, if you like, tomorrow night. Excuse me. So it's a massive occasion for everyone on the Central Coast. And there's a real buzz around the area. Real buzz. I was out at Terrigal earlier today, and you could see Mariners gear everywhere. There's people wearing hats, shirts, jackets. It's going to be nuts too, because like the last time we've seen a crowd this big was 2008, and I was a kid back then, man. I was at that game. It was so long ago, and it's going to be weird experiencing my home stadium like that. It's going to be great. It's going to be great, but we haven't experienced it for so long. So the noise is going to be unreal. Troy says, yes, they are fantastic. The A-League classics, indeed. That's right. That was a tough period for us. Couldn't agree more. So much to love about tomorrow. Can really feel the vibes all season. Yeah, and look, the team and Monty deserve it too for the hard work they've put in over the last year or so. It's they've deserved it, and especially Mariners have made finals 3 years in a row now, but this is the first one out of those three we've had a. Sorry, no, I'm stand corrected. The first year, of course, we had that home elimination final, but that didn't work out to plan against MacArthur. But we're back at home, a home semi-final, which we haven't had a home semi-final in a long time. So it's gonna be exciting. Been enjoying your latest FIFA Raw series. Thanks, man. What difficulty are you playing on? It looks tough. It's world class. It's world class, and it is tough. It is tough. Like, I'm genuinely trying. Dude, I will say I'm not the best at FIFA. I'm definitely not the best at FIFA. I'm pretty rubbish at it. Um, for that series, I play on world class. Just because anything higher, I get smashed. But glad you guys are enjoying the series, man. Had some nice comments coming in about that, which is good to see. Sydney FC got a little opportunity here, and if they want a corner, I think they have. So first corner of the game to Sydney FC, 9 minutes in. Get thrashed sometimes on professional difficulty. I don't know what it is with FIFA. I feel like the difficulty changes. Like I think like a couple FIFAs ago, I used to play on like legendary or ultimate or whatever it is, and then like the next one that just got harder. Anyway, here's the Sydney corner, and Tom Glover will claim it. I love how you build Suncorp. So cool, mate. Yeah, that was a cool thing. Like I only got that idea when it comes around. Like, so in career mode in FIFA, for those that don't know, like when you go into that second season, it's really cool. They give you the option to customize your club, so you can like edit the stadium. And I was like, oh, of course, Brisbane Roar like returning to Suncorp Stadium, like in real life. So I was like, it just makes sense to recreate, come as close as we can to Suncorp, which is we came as close as we could with sort of the red seats and red and orange layout. But yeah. Adam talking about tomorrow night says, I want to make sure I leave at least 1 hour and a half before the match starts so that I don't get stuck outside the stadium trying to get in, as I assume a lot of people will be waiting in long lines. Yeah, actually, I can tell you, we're going to come back to that because Melbourne City are in here. Jack Rodwell, good strength. He'll poke it away. Yeah, coming back to that about tomorrow night on the Central Coast. The last game, the Melbourne City game, where we had like 10,000. Great run. Tilio. Almost a chance for Melbourne City. We are multitasking here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm trying to read comments and watch this game. Melbourne City looking to hit the front foot. For that Melbourne City Mariners game a few weeks ago, I think it was like 10,000 people there, and there was lines still after kickoff, and that was only 10,000 people, and we're going to get double that. We're going to get double that. So goodness me, there's going to be massive lines. The streets are going to be flooded, mate. Alex says the pitch is playing better than it looks, and a touch fast. It looks better than what it did a few weeks ago, that's for sure. Do you remember that? Was it the last round of the regular season or the second last round or something where I think it was the last round where both City and Victory played here and it just looked rubbish. And like, there was rugby games being played there on the same weekend. It was just did not look great. Look, you can still see the rugby lines here, but it looks like it's in decent condition. It's in decent condition, fairly in fair condition. So 12 minutes in, and Sydney FC have done a decent job of holding Melbourne City out so far. And now have a chance in a good area of the pitch with a throw in. Let's see what they do here. Nice movement by Max Burgess. Lafondra, not quite on the same wavelength with his teammates there. Crowd prediction for tomorrow's game. I think right on. I think tomorrow night at Central Coast see their biggest crowd in A-League history. I genuinely think that. I don't know whether it'll crack 20,000, but it'll be just under that. Just under that. Con says 19K. It'll be at the higher end of 19K tomorrow. This afternoon we heard there's only 1,000 tickets left, and more will be sold. So yeah, it's going to be absolutely packed. So yeah, it should be right up there with one of the biggest crowds we've ever seen. Mm. 1201 asks, how good do you think Chilio can be? Because he shows great potential but isn't too consistent. Fair point. I mean, this has probably been his most consistent season, and the second half of this season, he's been brilliant. You think about those performances in that 4-1 win against Wellington, the 3-2 win against Wanderers a few weeks back in the final round of the season, just fantastic. I think he's one of the most talented Australian youngsters, and I don't think that's a hot take by any means. But how good do you think he could be in terms of like how much potential does he have? I think he has the potential to be playing in a top league in Europe. I genuinely believe that. I think I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a move in the off season. A lot of people are talking about Jordy Boss, who has already secured his overseas move. Nestor Irankunda, huge amount of talk around him. I don't think enough people talk about Tilio. His dribbling ability is by far his best asset, and he's one of the best. He's one of the best dribblers in the league, I reckon. Marco Tilio, right up there with one of the best. So I'm excited to see where he goes. And here he is now taking on Grant. City win a corner. Did you watch the A-League All Access? I did. The most recent one last night came out, which was the Sydney Melbourne City semi-final first leg, which the A-League All Access covered that. And the most interesting aspect of that was how we got to hear the VAR, the communication between the video assistant referee and the referee on the pitch. That was really, really cool. Really, really cool. And a lot of people have sort of been crying out for that. There's something that we need to get more clarity with refereeing decisions. So that was cool, man. All right. City's first corner of the game delivered. Red main punches. City go backwards. So a quarter of an hour in, and credit to Sky Blues for staying strong so far. They've got experienced players. They're not going to crumble under the pressure. They've been in this plenty of these players. Alex Wilkinson, Andrew Redmayne, Ryan Grant, Luke Bratton. These guys have been here before. A lot of these guys played a grand final here at this stadium 2 years ago, almost to the date. I watched. They put that up. That was another one of those like the keep up archives that they put up on YouTube. The Sydney Melbourne City Grand Final from 2021, and it was so funny too because it was like during the pandemic. Or was that 2020? No, it was 2021. Yeah, it's definitely 2021. It was during the pandemic, right? So, you could see the crowd, but there was like a spare row between like every second row was spare, and I was like, oh gosh, it feels like ages ago now, doesn't it? Thinking back to going to games during the pandemic, it was a different vibe, different vibe. Troy says, wow, that's crazy. Didn't know that. Almost capacity crowd with 24 hours to go. So exciting. Yeah, it's awesome. It's so good. Yeah, on the A-League socials, they've been sharing it throughout the week. The last few days, that the crowd numbers, the tickets remaining has been just going down, down, down. So this afternoon, they posted that there's less than 1,000 tickets remaining. So it's going to be nuts, dude. Like it's huge. It's huge. I can't wait for it. Prediction for tonight. I mean, I'm going to stick with what I said pre-game, which was 3-1 City. I'm sticking with that. But the way it's going, I'm almost shifting on that. I think this could end like 0-0, genuinely. And we'll go into extra time. Good run. Is that Jordy Boss with a run? Melbourne City moving the ball here, just looking a little bit more keen to get forward here. Nuno Reis up from right back. Look at this shape, though. I mean, Melbourne City trying to move the ball with a bit more urgency. Sydney FC doing well. Cross comes in, headed away. Melbourne City are dominating, as we expected. But so far, Sydney FC have an answer for everything. But the problem for Sky Blues is they can't get themselves on the ball. They can't get themselves up the other end of the field. And there's a long time. Sydney have to do this for a long time. Can they do it for 90 minutes and perhaps more? Nice play, City. Ooh, that's a dangerous challenge. City fans aren't. City players are protesting to the referee. Could this be a red? Could this be a red from Sean Evans? The yellow card is out. City players are not happy. That was a heavy challenge on Marco Tilio. Max Burgess with the challenge. We have to see the replay of this, man. Was there studs? Was there studs? Here's the replay. Did the studs make contact with him there? Here we go. Here's a better angle. Oh, it's high. Oh, dude, what do you guys think? Is that red? Dude, the studs are up and they're hot. Dude, that could be red. That could be red. They've given that red so many times this season. This could be danger for Sydney FC. VAR check. Oh, this is huge. This is huge. Brock reckons it's a red. Cons reckons it could potentially be a red as well. Oh, this is huge. This could be a massive turning point in this semi-final. Max Burgess flying in on Marco Tilio, and that it's an easy decision. It has to be a red, right? It's clumsy. It's so silly. And this is a massive advantage now for Melbourne City, dude. Massive. This is going to make it so difficult for Sydney FC to get through from the semi-final. There has to be a send-off. I mean, the VAR check is still going on, but Sean Evans surely has to give Max a red here because it's an easy decision. Oh, the studs are very, very. You can see the way Tilio's leg like bends as well, and that's it. Sean Evans, yellow card is ruled out. Red card is given. Huge moment in this second leg semi-final. Max Burgess, we were talking about him earlier. He's one of the Sydney's best players. He's had a fantastic season. Crucial to the way Sydney FC get forward in attack. Sydney are down to 10. And my goodness, that is massive. That might just cost Sydney FC a place in the grand final. Max Burgess does not look happy walking down the tunnel. Dude, looking at that replay, you can see the way Tilio's leg like bends. It's a really dangerous challenge. Why is he? And here's the thing, right? Like, why is he going in that high with the leg? You can do Graham Arnold in the stands. They're showing Graham Arnold. He was wincing. Oh my goodness. I just don't understand why players sliding in and showing commitment, to win the ball. Totally. But you got to be smarter than that. When you're flying in with your studs up that high, you can't do it. You just can't, especially with VAR, you just can't do it. And there wasn't really any need to. That's the thing. He wasn't really in a dangerous position. He was like 30, 40 meters out from goal. And Max Burgess just comes in and takes him out. It's so silly. Really, really disappointing for Sydney FC. So this is going to be fascinating now because, I mean, Sydney were already struggling. Just before that red card, I was talking about how Sydney were really struggling to just get out and get themselves on the ball and move forward. It's going to be even harder now. I mean, Sydney might not be able to get a shot on target for the rest of the game now. Melbourne City have to win this semi-final as it stands. Fortnight's in here. How's it going, mate? Good to see you here. Hope you've had a good week. We're only 20 minutes in. 22 minutes in. Still plenty of football to be played. But this is going to take a monumental effort from the Sky Blues to get through. But look, legit, the message now from Steve Corica has to be just. I know it's like, I guess, a negative term in football, but parking the bus. They just got to hold on. They just got to hold on for this draw, dude. I mean, they're so lucky they have a draw. That it stands as a draw right now on aggregate. If City were up, it'd be impossible for them to get through. But Sydney just have to defend for the next, potentially into extra time over 100 minutes. Man. And hope they can get it through to extra time, or maybe they can sneak a chance or just take it to penalties. I can't see any way the Sydney get through otherwise. That's got to be a foul, surely. The push on Nunaresh. No. Okay, no foul. Interesting. Oh boy. Fair point. Fair point. If Sydney don't win, he's going to miss the first match of next season. Indeed. Max scored a banger against Western Sydney Wanderers a few weeks ago. Bosho asking, who do you think is Sydney the best Sydney FC player with skill? Honestly, the most skillful Sydney FC player is probably the one that just got sent off. I think Max Burgess has got fantastic ball control and skill. You could probably say Robert Max up there as well. Sydney FC getting forward here. Adam Lafondra almost trying to break through there. So the Sky Blues have the ball forward here and have a throw in. So a rare opportunity for the Sky Blues. And they're going to take their opportunities. They have to take their opportunities. What can they do here? Joel King to throw. We have to keep our eyes on it when Sydney get forward here. That's a heavy challenge. Offside is the call. Red card. Red card. If you're just tuning in, red card to Max Burgess for a clumsy and dangerous challenge on Marco Tilio. So Sydney FC now playing with sort of a 4-4-1. 4-4-1 with Adam Lafondra centrally by himself. Corica just needs to get his team to halftime without conceding and organise the troops from there because they need organising now. They are on the back foot big time, Sydney FC here. Should Phil Jones come to the league? Sure. I don't know how. I feel like there's a lot of A-League defenders that would probably be better than Phil Jones. Who do you think has been the best A-League player this season? Craig Goodwin, easily. Robert's in here. How's it going, mate? Burgess out. That's right. Huge blow for Sydney FC. It could cost them. It could cost them a place in the grand final. Adam says, I think that red card could prove to be the biggest turning point in the season if Melbourne City take advantage. Look, it's done a good job to really heighten the narrative here. I mean, Melbourne City were already favourites heading into the game, but now have an extra man on the field. Interesting start on the broadcast here. Touches in opponent's box. 6 for City, only 4 for Sydney. Here we go, another touch of the box. Just Marco Tilio. He can't work his way through. It's going to fall for Naboot. So still pretty even in that aspect. Melbourne City haven't quite created many. Melbourne City haven't really created any clear-cut opportunities 27 minutes into this game, to be fair. They haven't really created any real dangerous chances. Here's Jody Boss. Edge of the box. Plays it back for Tilio. Melbourne City need to break through this. The Sydney FC just have every player behind the ball. This is incredible. Dude, Adam Lafondra is playing as a defensive midfielder right now. That's where he is on the pitch. Sydney FC have 10 players behind the ball. Nice move, and that's got to be a foul. City win a free kick out wide in a good area. Oh, my goodness. Yellow card, Joel King. Jamie McLaren should go to Scotland. Of course, he used to play there, didn't he? At Hibernian, didn't he? A few years ago. Who would you say are the A-League's best wonder kids? Nestor Irankunda is right up there. Geordie Boss is fantastic. Nectar Triantis has had a great season for Mariners. Marco Tilio, of course, for Melbourne City. And I'm sure there's plenty that are escaping my brain right now. But there's a number of fantastic young players. Keegan Yelich at Glory. Delivery is good off the post. Great chance, Melbourne City. Free kick was dangerous. And who got the header? It came off the post, man. Great chance for Melbourne City. And they've got another free kick, have they? Sydney players are appealing. Here's the replay. Free kick was fantastic. It was McLaren at the near post. Barisha's delivery. Dude, it was really similar to what we saw last week, just on the opposite side. Melbourne City's goal that they scored in that first leg, where the free kick was whipped in with pace by Barisha. And in the first leg, Lecky got the header. This time, McLaren almost getting on the end of it. But coming off the post there, what a chance. Tom Glover will probably be a spectator for the rest of this game. Yeah, definitely. Tom Glover can chill out because all the action is down at Sydney FC's goal. Another free kick chance here. Valon Barisha delivers, nicely placed. How did a City player not get on the end of that? Thomas Lamb, the closest. Just stick out a leg, son. I want to see this replay. So Barisha over the top. Dude, he almost didn't. He moved his head to try and head it, but he just went like, just like he moved his head like a few millimeters. Like, dude, attack the ball, Thomas. Attack the ball. What a great chance. Melbourne City looking real dangerous half an hour into this game now. Attack the ball, Thomas. That was the first shot at goal too. The I guess that the one that hit the post was the shot on goal, was it? Must have been. Well, this has been a spicy game so far, hasn't it? Josh is here. How's it going, Josh? Hope you've had a good week, mate. Says Mariners game is going to be amazing tomorrow. Less than 1,000 tickets left. GA and Yellow Army is sold out, dude. It's going to be nuts. It's going to be crazy. I can't wait for it. If you guys are going, make sure you get there nice and early. We were talking about it before. There's going to be massive queues. I think gates open at 6:15 tomorrow night. But it's going to be great. I can't wait for it. So tonight's nice. Tonight is sort of, semi-final eve for Mariners fans. Seeing who Mariners could be potentially playing in the grand final. As it stands, it's looking likely that it could be Melbourne City. That's for sure. How Sydney come back with a red card? I assume you're asking how can Sydney come back with that red card? It's going to be tough, that's for sure. It's going to be all about holding on, I think, for this first half. And as the game starts to open up in the second half, they need to look to their wingers, Segacic. And look, Caceres is on the right, but he's not necessarily the paciest of players. Maybe getting Joe Lolly on there, looking to exploit the wide areas and create a chance for Adam Lafondra late on in the game. That's the way they're going to get through. But if they can't do that, they just simply need to hold on and not concede and hold on for penalties, man. Yeah. Good question here. Says, do you think the large St. Mariners crowd is just due to it being a semi-final? Has there been increased advertising or something like that? There definitely has been increased advertising, as you'd expect with the finals match. But the fact that it is a final, yes, definitely contributes to it, 100%. And Mariners fans are totally aware of the situation and aware that Mariners are in a great position to qualify for their first grand final in 10 years. Of course, the signed jersey behind us from that 2013 grand final. 10 years ago. 10 years ago. I was at that game. I was in the middle of the Yellow Army for that game. And that was a very fun day, that's for sure. What do you think the grand final will end up being? I think Mariners are well positioned to go through, so I don't think that's biased saying Mariners go through the grand final. And it should be Melbourne City from tonight. It should be Melbourne City. Sydney FC, it'd be a massive upset if they get it done from here. But it should be a Melbourne City Mariners grand final, I reckon. And look, in that grand final, I think Melbourne City will be favourites, rightly so. The Premiers, they've been the best team this season, once again. But Mariners have been playing well at the moment. Here comes Geordie Boss. Look at him driving forward. Good run, Geordie Boss. He's still going. He goes down. No penalty. Costa's in the chat. Said just finished training. Costa, good to see you here, mate. Hope training went all right. Josh was there too, dude. It was so good. And hopefully we can replicate some of those memories. Hopefully we can replicate some of those memories once again in a couple weeks' time. Bosho agrees, thinks it'll be a Mariners City grand final. I'm curious, actually. Does anyone here think that Adelaide will win tomorrow night? Or sorry, I should say go through tomorrow night. Because even if Adelaide win by 1 goal, it'll still go to extra time tomorrow night, of course. Does anyone think Adelaide will win tomorrow night and go through to the grand final? Because a lot of people seem to be predicting Mariners. Chance here for City. Good opportunity. Saved by Redmayne. Great chance. Matthew Leckie. They're coming closer. Dude, look at this. Tom Glover's playing a sweeper. He's almost on the halfway line. Costa's confident that Adelaide will go through. Says 1-0, then either win in extra time or penalties. I'd be surprised if Adelaide hold Mariners scores tomorrow. You know, Mariners across 3 games against Adelaide have scored 10 goals against Adelaide this season. 10 goals from just this season alone against Adelaide. So it'll be a big ask for the Reds, I reckon. And Jessica's confident that it'll be City in the grand final to face either Mariners or Adelaide. We don't talk about that. Yeah, I think if Adelaide are going to have a chance to go through, it's going to be all about tightening up that back line, tightening up that defense. I mean, you look at that, especially that second goal. Like I was watching the replay again today of the Adelaide Mariners first leg semi-final, and that Cummings goal, the way he just like so easily found a pocket of space and scored. It was almost like Ben Warland and Ryan Kidder just switched off, just didn't give him a chance. Didn't give him didn't close him down. Slim chance for Adelaide. Will you be in the army? I won't be with the army, but I'll be following the Yellow Army doing their march. For Mariners fans heading to the game tomorrow, Yellow Army are doing a march from Kibble Park. I believe it starts at 7 p.m. So get down to Kibble Park for that Yellow Army march, Mariners fans, if you want to be there for it. Could Central Coast Mariners be playing Melbourne City in the grand final? It's looking likely with just 10 minutes to go in the first half. Domination from Melbourne City. They haven't created too many clear-cut chances, maybe 2 or 3. Speaking of that Adelaide backline, Reds fan Costa says Benny got to go. Ben Warland, I think so. I mean, like, especially if Lockie Barr's available, if Popovich is available. Barisha's corner is good, and it's in. City score, and that is surely 1 foot in the grand final. Melbourne City hit the front. That is 1-0 on the night. That is 2-1 on aggregate. City fans are celebrating. It was coming. And I said it, dude. I said if Sydney were going to get through to the grand final, they'll have any chance. They needed to hold City scoreless in this first half, but they've done it through Curtis Good. An unlikely source. Almost scored. Hit the crossbar last week, Curtis Good, from a corner. This time he puts it in the back of the net past Andrew Redmayne. Both shows happy. Good's first goal of the season, says Josh. What a goal, says Brock. Bosho says Sydney trash. 1-0 on the night. That is 2-1 on aggregate. Melbourne City should be going through to the grand final. They've got the advantage on the night. Sydney FC down, man. Oh my gosh. It cannot be understated how big of a turning point that was, that red card for Max Burgess. It's changed the whole game. And now City are going to run away with it. This was set up to be a really intriguing contest. It really, really was. But this oh, here we go. Sydney FC getting forward. Oh, am I going to eat my own words here? Segajic delivering. Oh, that was a terrible delivery. It goes out. It doesn't even go out for a goal kick. It goes over a throw-in. Okay. If Sydney FC come back, I will be stunned. Fair enough, Jessica says, to be honest, I don't want either of these teams to win. I'm a victory supporter. Of course, two of victory's biggest rivals here. Who do you think will score tomorrow? Josh. For Mariners, I reckon Cummings gets on the score sheet again. Big game. He's a big game player, Jason Cummings. I reckon Cummings and Silvera to get a couple goals for the Mariners. And maybe Goodwin to get one for the Reds. He's a chance for City to hit a second good block. Con says that was a sublime header into the ground to increase chances of getting by Redders. Well pointed out. Well pointed out. And yeah, like I said before, I mean, he hit the crossbar last week, Curtis Good. He was aiming too high with the header last week in the first leg. But this time he kept it low, as he said there, Cons, and finished well. Aussie Wixie in here says Cummings and Sammy to score tomorrow. My mate will be holding the big banner in the March, says Aussie. Good chance for City. Oh, my goodness. Should have made it 2-0 on the night. Brock says, how's that not 2-0? Is it Jamie McLaren again? A couple good chances for McLaren. Looking for that sneaky finals goal. He can't quite find it. Dude, I'm telling you right now, if City score one more, it's done. It's done. We can tune off for the night. It's done. We can get a nice early sleep to get ready for tomorrow night, Mariners Adelaide. I'm telling you right now. Anyway. Joe, so speaking of big games, did anyone watch that Sheffield Wednesday game this morning? It was mental. Had to be one of the best comebacks in history. Dude, I saw the highlights. Nuts. Crazy. It was a League One playoff, right? And second leg, I think it was Sheffield Wednesday, Peterborough. And Peterborough up 4-0 in aggregate. Sheffield Wednesday came back 4-4 at the end of full time. Extra time, it ended 5-5. And then Sheffield Wednesday threw in penalties. Nuts. So yeah, it was great. It's the drama of the two legs, man. The two legs. Do you guys like the two legs? How do we feel about two leg semifinals? I feel like people have mixed feelings on them. Mixed feelings when it comes to the two leg semifinals. I like them. Look, I think maybe like 5 or 6 years ago, I wouldn't have been a fan. The A League finals used to just be, just one-off games, knockout games. I like the two leg semis. It adds drama. Aussie Wicks, he says, I like the two legs. Costa says Adelaide to go a Sheffield Wednesday comeback. Person 1201 says, I think two legs is great, so more teams have home games. I love it for that reason too. Four. That's the thing that we get with semifinals. All four teams get a home final. Two opportunities indeed. Bosho says, I don't really like the two legs. Would rather have one. Josh says, just goes to show that two-legged games make a huge difference. Indeed. What do you think? Douse to Jets. Jacob Douse to Jets. A move that we all saw coming. It was talked about for a while. Makes sense. He's a Newcastle lad, and it's a good signing because I think what was his stats? He had like 5 assists, all from the bench, I think, this season, Jacob Douse. Left-sided player, great left foot. Good signing for Newcastle. Good signing. Chance for City here. In the box. Still on. Foul. Sydney FC free kick. Costa says, as a Reds fan, I hate semi-finals, one or two legs. Adelaide just can't win. I mean, that's the problem for Adelaide now. They've unfortunately for the Reds, for what is it, like 3 years in a row, 3 or 4 years in a row now, Adelaide keep getting stuck at the semis. When you think back to this season against Mariners, they could potentially be knocked out in the semis. Last year, they were knocked out to Melbourne City in the semis, and they were leading in that second leg for a moment. And then the season before, I believe Adelaide lost to Sydney FC at Cogra. That might have been just one leg though. That might have just been one leg. Interesting suggestion here. Lucina says, I wouldn't mind if they had two legs for elimination matches. It's something that I've seen suggested, and I think it'd be interesting. I think the only thing there is like final series, and whether this is a good thing or not, I don't know. But like then it stretches out to like 5 weeks, right? Which I guess isn't a bad thing, right? More finals matches the better. But is 5 weeks maybe just like, is it losing that spark a little bit? And I like it makes finishing in the top four. Sorry, it makes finishing in the top two rather much more valuable. Or sorry, I should say winning that elimination final that much more valuable, because then you go through and know you have a second chance. Yeah, I don't know if I explained that very well there. Josh also says, thoughts on the championship playoff semi between Middlesbrough and Coventry City. Coventry going through. Yeah, dude, I didn't watch the game, but it really disappointing for Riley McGree. Socceroo, of course, had the chance to go through and play Premier League football with his side Middlesbrough, and he's obviously a key player to Middlesbrough. Has been getting plenty of game time this season. I'd love to see Riley McGree get picked up by a Premier League club. I don't know if it'll happen, but maybe a lower table side, maybe another championship side that's going up would grab Riley McGree. That'd be great to see for Aussie fans, that's for sure. That's right, Costa, of course, yeah, 18-19 lost to Perth in the Pens in that insane game. I do recall that, the 4-3, 4-4. No, it's 4-4, of course, yeah, 4-4 to go to the Pens. 4-4, wasn't it, at the end? And then they went to Pens, and that Perth Glory side taking it to the grand final where Sydney won. There you go. Josh is a Coventry fan. If Central Coast Mariners do win, do you think a lot of people will go to Sydney from Gosford for the grand final? Yes. Big yes. Stefan Kolakowski should leave Perth Glory. I agree. He's not getting any game time. Costa says 2 legs for both elims and semis is too much for a team. If they go to the grand final straight from elimination, it's too much. Yeah, that's a good point too. I mean, they're playing, that potentially 5 games there to get through the grand final. 3 minutes of injury time. We are in here to finish off the first half. Stick around at halftime. We're going to be doing a bit of Q&A, as we always like to do. So if you guys have any questions or talking points, or we could talk about the semi-final taking place tomorrow night, make sure you stick around at halftime for that one. It was 3-3. I stand corrected. Possession stats on the broadcast, 77% for City. Dominating the ball. 18 touches in their opposition box. This has been domination from Melbourne City. It's going to be difficult for Sydney to come back in the second half. Just can't see it happening. It's a heavy challenge, and Sydney just asking a question here, and it's going to be a yellow card for Thomas Lamb, who came in heavy on Palaretre. And Sydney FC fans just asking the question of whether this maybe was deserving of more. I want to see a replay, because Thomas Lamb did dive in here. I'm curious to see this replay. Players are standing around here. No, it's that's not a red card. He stepped on his toe a little bit. It's not a red card for me. That's not a red card. He stepped on his toe. Thoughts on Cameron Pepillon? Great to see him get his Premier League debut this morning, wasn't it? And he's a young player with a lot of potential, that's for sure. Got Player of the Month in the in Brighton's youth team. And hopefully this is the first. This morning was the first of many Premier League appearances for Cam. All right, halftime just around the corner, and then we're going to be jumping into the chat. If you guys have been enjoying the stream, please consider hitting the like button if you want to show your support. And we've been doing working hard on the content the last couple of months now few vlogs, some really fun vlogs. We've already got a couple finals vlogs up on the channel. We went to Sydney City last week. That was a really fun vlog. But the one I really enjoyed doing was that Sydney derby from a couple of weeks ago. Check out the vlog for that one because that was probably my favorite vlog I've ever done. Of course, the Brisbane Royal Career Mode has been going strong as well. Half time at Amy Park. Melbourne City 1, Sydney FC 0 on the night. That's 2-1 on aggregate to Melbourne City. They have got 1 foot in the grand final. Sydney FC are down a man, Max Burgess, with a silly challenge on Mark Cotilio, red card. Well deserved. Well deserved? Maybe not the right word. Deserving red card for Max Burgess and Sydney FC. Half time. So, Sydney FC. What are they going to do? What are they going to do? I don't know if they can do much, man. They haven't had the ball. 77% possession to Melbourne City, right? All right, what are we saying here? Speaking of that Brisbane Royal Career Mode, get rid of Holmes for Brisbane Royal Career Mode. Dude, I think we have to, right? For those who saw the episode, the new episode came out today. If anyone hasn't seen it, you can check it out after the stream. But Jordan Holmes, our keeper in the Brisbane Royal Career Mode, has been leaking goals like crazy. And yeah, man, it's concerning, isn't it? So yeah, maybe we have to replace him. Bosho, I've subscribed to you on all my 3 accounts on YouTube. I appreciate it, Bo. What else are we saying here? What happened with Austin? I assume you're asking in the career mode, considering we were talking about that. His rating was just going down and down and down. Because I think he's like 34 or something, 35. Anyway, his overall was going down, and we had Patrick Wood. We signed Patrick Wood in the career mode, and spoiler alert, we signed on loan Mohamed Toure, former Adelaide striker. Interesting question. Question for all. Does it peeve you off when Aussie football fans belittle A-League but support a club they have no connection with? I've got a mate who supports Melbourne Storm, Queensland Maroons, and Man City. Interesting question. I mean, I'm curious to see what the chat thinks. Does it peeve you off? The only thing that it doesn't really, because I don't really talk to many people who don't follow the A-League. I mean, like, sorry, I should rephrase that. The football fans that I'm connected to do watch the A-League, so I haven't encountered many of those people. But when people do talk down about the A-League, I just there was that clip from, I don't know who it was or what the show was that was going around, and then like people like brought it up after that Perth Adelaide game of the clip of someone saying that the A-League isn't entertaining. If people just took the time to watch the league and see the quality that's there is quality. There's some fantastic talent playing in the A-League, and a great point to show where the A-League is at and the quality in the A-League is that Matthew Leckie was maybe our best soccer at the World Cup, and he's playing in the A-League for Melbourne City. Craig Goodwin scored against France in the World Cup. He's the captain of Adelaide United. Some of Australia's best players play in the A-League. Andrew Redmayne, his penalty saves got Socceroos through to that World Cup in that playoff match almost 12 months ago now. He's been at Sydney FC he spent his entire career in the A-League. So look, it's interesting because I can't really weigh into it too much, but yeah, it's interesting. Hey, Spencer's here. How's it going, Spencer? Good to see you. Are you going to do Such Mariners on FIFA 23? Potentially. I've got some ideas for future FIFA series, but yeah, really enjoying the Brisbane one at the moment. Good question from Jessica here. Which players will be crucial for the Socceroos next generation? Garen Kowal is going to be huge, but Nestor Nkunda has to be right up there. I think Geordie Boss is going to be the left back, is going to be the Socceroos left back for the next 10, 12 years for me. He has a massive future ahead of him. I think Joe Gauci is the future Socceroos goalkeeper for sure. And let's throw one more in there. Kai Rolls. I mean, Kai Rolls is going to be that key central defender, I think, for the next decade as well. Yeah. What else are we saying here? Do you think Lewis Miller should come back to the A League? We'd love to see Miller back in the A League, but I don't see any reason why he should come back. Mm-mm-mm. I'm looking at some comments here. If people say they don't come to the alley because of quality, I don't mind. But if they say they don't come because there are no crowds, it annoys me because if people came, then there would be crowds. I know your feelings. I feel what you feel, person 1201. Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? And look, I don't like. I almost want to. When people make comments like that about like the poor crowds at A League games, I'm really curious to know how many games they go to, right? Like people who say that, how many games did you go to this past season? I'm really curious. Actually, little mini poll here, just verbal poll, and you can drop it in the chat. How many games have you gone to this season? And look, if I don't mean to be like calling anyone out. If people who haven't been to any games, then that's fine. Of course, you can support the A League without going to any games. I know people who support the A League and they live nowhere near a team. But just curious, how many games for people? A lot of you guys support A League teams here. How many games did you go to this season? Approximately. Costa says all Adelaide home games, and I think I think a lot of fans are like that. Hey, a lot of a lot of the solid sort of consistent fans will go to just all their home games. Cons also says every home game. 12-1 says basically every Wanderers home game. Dingo's been to 4. That's the interesting thing too. It's like whether people go to away games. How many away games do people go to? Mostly Western Sydney Wanderers away game. Sorry, home games. Yeah. Tested asks, do you know if Stefan Kolakowski is injured or not getting any game time? I just think he's not getting any game time. I don't think we've heard anything about an injury. He might have been carrying something earlier on in the season. I can't quite recall. But as far as I'm aware, he's fit. But he's just not getting a look in that squad, which is a shame for him, isn't it? Which is a shame. Went to all Mariners home games except one. Thoughts on Nestori Urinkunda? One of the brightest young talents in Australian football right now. Spencer's been to 8 Raw home games. Live on the Gold Coast. Drove to Redcliffe up for games up the Raw, dude. And that would be a bit. That would be a bit of a trek, wouldn't it? Because Redcliffe is sort of on like the northern end of Brisbane, isn't it? So that would be a bit of a trek. So good on you, Spencer, for getting out there and supporting your team. A little bit of a closer trip next season with Brisbane Raw, of course, returning to Suncorp Stadium for the men's team and Ballymore Stadium for the women's team next season. And that just reminded me, of course, we've got the Mariners women's team joining next season, of course, which I'm very excited for. Hour and a half drive each way. Love the commitment, my man. Love the commitment. Actually, I'm curious as well. Does anyone in here follow an A-League team that they don't live near? I know some people who I do know like Mariners fans who like live in Canberra and stuff, and Mariners fans in Brisbane and Melbourne. I'm curious. Chris, how's it going? Chris in with a comment asks, do you think Segicic should move next season to get more consistent minutes? I think he should. There's the Sydney FC, as they have been for a long time, have been pretty happy to play the older, more experienced players. And this year it's been all about Joe Lolly and Robert Mack. I think he should go, even if it's just on loan. He must be getting itchy feet. He must be, he needs more game time. He's a good player. He's a very talented player, Adrian Segicic. And I think it may be almost any other A-League club, he probably would be getting regular minutes. How far is the drive to Gosford from you? Well, without revealing my exact location, about 20 minutes, I think. 20 minutes. Something like that. My first team is Central Coast Mariners. Second team is Knicks. Just support your local team. I'm totally with that as well, to support your local team. But I respect if people support a team from abroad, from from distance. Costa says, I just realized it's a long trip from Gosford to Sydney. Same with Newcastle to Sydney. It's not, I mean, it's like to get, like I drove down from the Central Coast to the Sydney FC City game semi-final last week. And, you know, it's roughly an hour and almost an hour and a half, maybe. Hour 15 without traffic, hour and a half into the stadium, maybe a bit longer actually. But you know, those us coasties will know. I mean, we're pretty used to driving to Sydney, so it's not too much of a big deal anyway. But yeah, Newcastle to Sydney is a bit longer, that's for sure. I love this comment from Alex. Going to an A-League match is underrated. It is indeed. Julian here says, I met Alex Parsons and Wenzel Halls back in Brisbane at a random field a couple of years ago. There you go. 2 players no longer at the club, eh? And not getting much game time. Alex Parsons at Sydney and Wenzel Halls at Mariners. How's it going? How's it going working for Coast? Dude, I had a great experience working for Central Coast Mariners. That was like the dream opportunity. If you told my like 12-year-old self that I'd be working for Mariners, I would have been kicking myself. Had a great experience there. But was really keen to get back into my own stuff, that's for sure. Julian says, "Hey, Loggy, how are you today? I'm doing very well, mate. Very, very well, mate. Thanks for asking. Hope you're doing well as well, Julian. Always good to see your comments here." Spencer says, "Even if you don't live, I assume you mean don't live near your team. Go to your local game. Have a mate that supports Wanderers, but joins me for Raw games." And I feel like we see that a lot at A-League games too. It's fun. It's fun going to A-League games as a neutral. I've done it a few times now, especially for these vlogs, the finals vlogs that we've been doing, going to Sydney FC City last week, and we did the Sydney Derby. It's fun going to a neutral, going as a neutral to a game because you're not nervous, right? Like you're not necessarily that invested. Like you're not emotionally invested in the game. You're just there just to be entertained. So if you haven't tried it, try it. Go to a game as a neutral. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. Julian, West United fan, says, finally, West United made their first signing this week. Thurgate. Angus Thurgate has indeed arrived at West United. Great signing for Western. There's been rumours from Aussie Scout on Twitter that maybe Josh Brolante heading to Western United. Rumor a few weeks ago that maybe Morgan Schneiderlin heading to Western United. So they need to do some recruitment this season, Western, because let a lot of people, let a lot of players go. Did you meet any of the players during your time? Yes, I met all the players. And that was the best part too. I mean, my favorite part was, going to shoot some of the training sessions. Just bringing the camera down, and it was one of Danny Vukovic's first sessions. When I was at the club, it was one of Danny Vukovic's first sessions, and taking photos and capturing video and stuff was great, and just being able to interact with the players and see them there was awesome. So it was a great experience. Who have the Mariners released? No one yet. So none of the teams involved in finals, still involved, have released anyone yet, which isn't surprising. They'll announce releases after their season finishes. But I think a lot of these Mariners players will stay, except for ones that are maybe looking for an overseas move. Of course, we already know that Geordie Boss is leaving Melbourne City. Con says that Thurgate deal is probably the best thing for West United, to be honest. Such a great player. Always have rated Gus. He's fantastic. He's really, really good. He's such a hard-working player, too. He's got one of the best engines in the league. It's a good signing. Good signing. To add some more legs to that midfield, which maybe they've been lacking. West United. Hey guys, the second half is about to get underway. Sydney FC have a mountain to climb. Can they do it? I don't think they will. Sorry, Sydney fans. But this is absolutely all in Melbourne City's favour right now. That first half goal to Curtis Good made it 2-1 on aggregate. Adam Lafondra, 6 goals in 6 games. Can he rescue something here for the Sky Blues? They just need one goal to get level. Sky Blues do just need one goal to get level. But I think if City score one more, if City are the next team to score, it's done. It's done. If City are the next team to score, it's done, ladies and gentlemen. We can pack it up. We can get an early night. What's Jason Cummings like in person? Very funny. He loves cracking a joke and having a laugh. Yeah, he's great. Great vibe. That's the thing. Like you get to know them as people, even for the brief time I was there. And you just see them sort of like acting like it's sort of funny because like you look at footballers and you don't, we sort of view them as what I mean. You like sort of view professional footballers as like this other sort of like mysterious sort of people, but they're just human beings at the end of the day, and they really are down to earth. That's for sure. Spencer says Mariners 2-1 to City in the grand final in Sydney. Dude, that'd be fingers crossed. Fingers crossed we can get there and get the job done. That would be epic. Do you think it's possible the National Second Division becomes more popular than the A-League? I don't think so. I've seen that like suggested a couple times. I don't think so. Look, it's great. It's like exciting that the National Second Division is coming in, but the A-League is and will always be the it's the first division for a reason, right? And wouldn't that just be weird if like the National Second Division was more popular than the A-League? That'd be like like in England, if the Championship was more popular than the Premier League, it'd be like, the A-League is always going to have the best players, the best infrastructure, and yeah. So I think it's pretty easy. Question for all: which team do you guys think will win the Wooden Spoon in 2023-24 season? Good question. Drop your suggestions in the chat. Jessica says either Newcastle or Bulls. I'm going for Newcastle. It's very early, but I think Jets. They've struggled the last couple of years. Sorry, I shouldn't say struggled. They've just been mediocre. They've come close, but they've faded away when it comes to the end of seasons for the last couple of years under Pappas. And they've lost some good players. Mikkel Datsy's leaving. Thurgate's leaving. It's a bit of an end of an era for Newcastle once again. They need to do something. They got to recruit better players. I think Newcastle could slip down to bottom next season. Costa says Jets or Bulls, maybe Glory. Lucina says MacArthur to get the Wooden Spoon. It's going to be interesting. Did I miss an elbow here? There's a Sydney FC player down. What did I miss, dude? I looked away from the screen for a second. Here's the replay. Oh, okay. So Aidan O'Neill has raised his elbow on Luke Bratton here. And Sydney FC are appealing for a red card. Is that a red card? Is that red card worthy? It looked completely accidental. But I don't know, man. I don't know. Look, it wouldn't surprise me if VAR just wanted to have a look at that. Showing the replay again. I don't know, man. I mean, it's harsh. Like, I think if they did give a red for that, it's harsh. Corica can't believe it. Oh, mate. McGarry or Farrell? On current form, James McGarry. James McGarry. He's been great since arriving mid-season. Con says, I don't think it's red-worthy, but who knows? We've seen stronger things. And and that's why I say that I wouldn't be surprised if VAR had a look because you never know this season. They do like to get involved the VAR, but Luke Bratton looks all right, which is good to see, and no VAR involvement this time. Spencer says, correct me if I'm wrong, but Graham Arnold's in attendance tonight, right? Yes, he is. Yeah, it was actually a really funny moment when during Max Burgess's red card, they showed Graham Arnold's reaction, and he winced when seeing it as well. So yes, Graham Arnold is there. Nisbet also. Oh, we're doing a this or that. Both shows give me a this or that. Nisbet or Silvera. See, that's a tricky one because they're two very different players. Look, I mean, I'd love to go Josh Nisbet. I think he's been one of Mariners' best players this season, but Samuel Silvera's just been unreal this year. So both have been fantastic, but Sammy just. Costa says, I'm honestly going to cry if Adelaide get knocked out tomorrow. 3 years in a row. 3 years in a row of coming so close, Adelaide United. What can they do? They get themselves in good positions every year. They can never get it done. Welcome back to another episode of Melbourne City. Hold possession. Can they get it to 99%? I don't even know if that's mathematically possible. Geordie Boss with a long-range strike. That's nowhere near the target. Let's keep going. Both shows keeping them coming. Ballard or Steele? Maxi Ballard or Harry Steele? Got to be Max Ballard. He's played more games this season and he's been fantastic. How do you think Alo Kowal's career would be? Haven't heard too much since he left Central Coast Mariners. Yeah, he's still at Stuttgart in Germany, isn't he? And hasn't been stealing the headlines of late, has he? He's involved in the under-23 squad. Australia's under-23 squad coming up I think just as a train-on player though, for memory. Tulio or Cummings? Hot take. I'm going Tulio. I don't know if that's a hot take. Both are fantastic, of course. Cummings, 16 goals or something this season? But Tulio's unreal, man. What preseason matches would you love to see happen? Interesting question. I might just turn that question into an Australia Cup question. Of course, we've got the Australia Cup, which will be getting underway in just a couple of months. I'd love to see some derbies in the cup. Maybe an F3. Oh no, Newcastle. No, Newcastle in the playoffs, of course. It'd be fun to see like an F3 derby in the cup. That'd be fun. Something different. Everyone's making Arnold a meme on Twitter now. Oh, we gotta go have a look later. That's great. Last one, Caltech or Triantis. I love Nectar Triantis. He's had a fantastic breakout season, but Brian Caltech is one of the best defenders in the league. Yeah. Did you block me? No. Preseason, that's right. We would have loved to have seen that game happen. Wrexham Mariners. Great chance. Good save. Geordie Boss with a strike. Long range. Oh my gosh. What a goal that would have been. Was that Thomas Lamb who just sent it flying at Andrew Redmayne? Melbourne City 1, Sydney FC 0. Mate, I would have loved to have seen that game happen. I remember that April Fool's joke happening and seeing it, and straight up, I believed it for real. When I saw that the Mariners Wrexham announcement, I was like, "This is amazing! This is incredible!" And I told my partner about it, and she's not necessarily like an avid football fan. She follows the Mariners, but I told her about it, and like I was like, it was like she doesn't really know about Wrexham, who Wrexham are, but I was like, Ryan Reynolds owns them, and she's like, what? Oh my gosh, that's crazy. And I was like, yeah, like Ryan Reynolds is probably gonna like come to the Central Coast and everything. It's gonna be like a big thing. And like we were all excited for it and everything. And then like a moment later, we're like, oh no, it's April 1st. Oh no. I got really excited. I was like, this is good. This is epic. Mariners Wrexham. That's happening. But no. No worries, Bo. Hope you have a good night, mate. Thanks for tuning in as always. Spencer says, let's start a petition to make Wrexham Mariners happen. Would also love to see A-League All-Stars versus MLS All-Stars. That would be interesting, wouldn't it? Troy fell for the April Fool's joke too. Dude, I think a lot of us did, right? Oh, man. Do you think Glover will go to Wrexham? No. He actually, in an interview during the week, he crushed those rumors. So, no, Glover to Wrexham was never on. It would have been cool. Would have been cool to see an Aussie keeper there, but it's not happening. Glover might well head overseas though. I think there's some rumors about that. Spencer says I would have travelled for the Mariners Wrexham game, dude. I think a lot of people would have. If they'd played that game here on the Central Coast, it would have sold out, surely, right? A lot of people would have come for that game. Mariners Wrexham would have been a huge one. Hi, I am new to the channel. Thanks for tuning in. Glad you found the content. I hope you enjoy. City 1, Sydney 0. Their names are way too similar when I say them like that. Melbourne City 1, Sydney FC 0, 2-1 an aggregate to City. And, dude, it's just possession. It's just possession. Dude, I'm looking at the chat more than I'm looking at the game right now, dude. Because it's just City passing the ball. Thoughts on the Matilda series on Disney Plus? I'm 2 episodes in. No spoilers, please. No spoilers, please. I'm 2 episodes in and loving it so far. If you guys haven't checked it out, go do so. The Matildas documentary that came out last month on Disney Plus is fantastic so far. Loving it. Loving it. Okay, chance for Sydney to counter here. Ryan Grant down the right. What can the Sky Blues do? Okay, everyone, focus. Focus. Sydney FC getting forward. Sydney FC have the ball. Decent move. Ryan Grant's in. What is that? Was he trying to shoot? Ryan Grant had 2 players central there, and he just like sends it straight to the keeper. What a chance. That was probably going to be Sydney's one and only chance for the game. It was a good move too. What was really bizarre from a player so experienced too. Do you watch Ted Lasso? I haven't watched Ted Lasso. I know a lot of people do. Would you guys suggest it? For those that have seen Ted Lasso, would you suggest it? Good to see your channel rising. Thanks, Adam. I appreciate your guys' support. You guys make it happen. We recently hit 2,000 subscribers, which is very exciting. Channel's been going for just over a year now, I think. And it's great. It's great to see so much support. Year and a half. Iron Man days. Spencer says, watch Ted Lasso. Roy Kent is the best character. I'll have to check it out. Get Joe Lolly on there. Get Joe Lolly on the field. Why is he on the bench? He must still be carrying an injury. That's the only reason. Why he wouldn't be playing. Melbourne City playing it forward. Good chance here. Cross is good, and it's in. McLaren gets his goal. Ladies and gentlemen, it's done. Melbourne City are going to the grand final. They've got 2 on the night. That's 3-1 on aggregate. Sydney FC are down to 10 men. It's done. It is done, man. Adam says that's the game. We're not even an hour into the match, but it is comfortable now for Melbourne City. Alex says all over Red Rover. Was it an own goal? Was it McLaren or was it an own goal? That looks like a Rodwell own goal, right? I think it is. I think it is. Melbourne City happy. They've got their second, but I reckon that was an own goal. Good cross from Andrew Naboot. That was a dangerous delivery. I think starting Lecky and Naboot alongside Tilio as well. I think that has worked out well for City in this game. But yeah, man. An hour has passed. Sydney FC, what do they do? I mean, they have to go for it, but if they do, they're going to leave space at the back for Melbourne City to exploit, and they're getting forward again. Here's City. Corner. Troy says that happened when I did Mariners career mode, and then I played Sydney Rodwell own goal. There you go. Jack Rodwell with the own goals, eh? This is a very comfortable position. Very, very comfortable position for Melbourne City now. If they sometimes put up like the win predictor, the percentage thing, it'd be 99% Melbourne City for sure. 99%. Good delivery from the corner, just wide. Well, it's already over, but you get the feeling that Melbourne City are in the mood just to pile it on here. Tan Lee in the chat says, love this game as a Western Sydney Wanderers fan. Seeing Sydney struggle. 11 shots on goal for Melbourne City, 0 for Sydney FC. Dude, I think that cross a moment ago from Ryan Grant should go down as a shot, right? Like, it was on target. It was an easy claim for Tom Glover, but I'm pretty sure it was on target. Surely that has to be a shot, right? Or does a misdirected cross that heads toward goal, is that still not regarded as a shot? I don't know. That's right, Bailey. Let's go Mariners. In 24 hours' time, we will be seeing Mariners Adelaide face off in this semi-final second leg. Spencer asks, who are the marquees you'd like to see in the league? I'd love to see Zlatan personally. The personality, would make a great all-access episode. It would. I'd love to see Zlatan here. That would be awesome. Which marquees? It's always tricky because the ones that come are always the ones that I don't even think about arriving. Like, I wouldn't have guessed that Nani would have been playing in the A-League if you told me that a year ago. So, look, we'd take Zlatan for sure. That'd be fun. Con says, I don't understand how they can tell if it's a misdirected cross versus shot, though. I thought it was a shot. Yeah, I think it was definitely intended to be a cross, but it was just mishit. So it wasn't an accurate cross, but it was heading towards goal, right? From memory, from that replay, it was heading towards goal. So yeah, I think if it's heading towards goal, it has to surely be counted as a shot on target, right? I don't know. Game over indeed, Costa. This is game over indeed. We've got half an hour now to chill out. So if you guys have any questions, A-League questions or whatever, and or we could talk about the game tomorrow night as well. Of course, we're keeping an eye on this one. If Sydney somehow pull out a miraculous comeback, but This is comfortable for Melbourne City. Right near the corner pocket. So, yeah, it was on target, that Grant cross, right? So you'd think it'd be a shot, but obviously not, according to the stats. Good delivery. I almost feel for Sydney FC here. They've got no chance. They've been on the back foot all night, and they can't really do much about it. Jake Goodwood Reich, and is it Joe Lolly? Yep. Okay, so Sydney FC preparing a couple changes. And Costa says Lolly getting ready. Yep. Joe Lolly there. Jake Goodwood Reich. I'm not sure. Regardless of if who Sydney haven't had on the bench, I don't think it's going to make much impact on the scoreline. It's going to be hard for them to come back. Did you see the news about Socceroos versus Argentina and China? I did, yes. That has been talked about for the last couple of weeks now, and it sounds like it's happening. Disappointing that it would have been awesome if it was being played here in Australia, but yeah, it'll be interesting seeing it over there being played in China. But huge for Australia to be facing Argentina again. Bailey says Melbourne City have an easy W now. They do indeed. They've got it in their bag, Bailey. They've got it done. They've done well tonight. They've controlled the game. Chance for City to get forward. Good strike, just wide. And the Flames went off prematurely there as McLaren's shot just went wide. You could see the firework thingies behind the goal. The Flames went off there for a moment, I think. Did they? Did the Flames go off? They did, didn't they, right? Yeah, there you go. You can see them on that replay. Troy says, I think what Caltech has done this season is amazing for his first professional, first team season. It really is. It really, really is. I mean, it adds to the story of Brian Caltech. He's not just a player who's come in and had a fantastic season. He's a player who's coming into his first ever professional season, which is pretty remarkable. Changes for Sydney FC. Jake Goodwood Reich is on for Paolo Retre. Joe Lolly has entered the field as well to replace Adrian Segacic, I believe it was. Or was it Caceres? No, I believe it was Segacic. City coming forward, though. Could make it 3 here. And they do. What a finish. Oh, what a finish. It's Marco Tilio to score against his former club. It's 3-0 on the night. 4-1 on aggregate. Ladies and gentlemen, we are witnessing a Melbourne City masterclass tonight. Too easy. They got the draw in the first leg. They come here at home and they smash it. They smash Sydney FC. 3-0 on the night. What a goal, too. What's a goal? And Joel, you're absolutely right, says Burtis really ruined this for Sydney. It was massive. And I said at the time, it was a massive turning point in the game. What a goal from Tilio. What a strike. Fantastic. Spencer says, send Tilio to the Prem. We were talking about him in the first half and his potential. I think he's one of the best players in the league. I really mean that. He's had a fantastic season and fantastic dribbling ability, fantastic finishing ability as he showed there to put that one into the top of the net. No chance. Redmayne. Oh. City 3, Sydney 0. Marco Tilio. What a goal. What's a goal? 10th goal of the season for Tilio. 10th goal. Good return. Good return for the winger. So the first goal to Curtis, good. Second goal was that Rodwell own goal, and Tilio making it 3. There is no chance Sydney FC get back in this game. It won't happen. It won't happen. If they do, it's the most outrageous comeback in footballing history. Not just the A-League, footballing history. Spencer asks, score prediction for tomorrow's game? I'm going for 2-1 Mariners. I'd love to say it'd be more. but I think Adelaide will be up for it. But Mariners should get the job done again. I think 2-1 Mariners. Are you attending? Yes. Big yes. Big yes, indeed. Can't wait for it. Can't wait for it. Sell out crowd, hopefully, at Industry Group Stadium tomorrow night. Corner for Sydney. Hey, they got a shot. That was definitely a shot. That was a wayward header from Jack Rodwell, but Sydney FC with a rare opportunity there from the corner. Jack Rodwell's header off target, but this game is well and truly done, folks. We look ahead now to tomorrow night. Adelaide United traveling to Central Coast Mariners for the second leg semi to decide who will face Melbourne City in the grand final. Live stream in the stadium. Wouldn't that be interesting? I would need. Imagine that if I just had like a whole desk and like my, because for my live stream setup, I've got like computer here, monitor screen here, webcam there, like a phone down here. That'd be chaos. We'll be doing a vlog. We'll be doing a vlog for tomorrow's game. So keep an eye on the channel over the week for that one. Valon Barish is coming from the field. Solid shift tonight. And Richard van der Ven's going to replace him. Sky Blue is getting forward down the left now. All of a sudden, I found a bit of space here. He had barely any support around him there, Joe Lolly. But he wins a corner. He wins a corner off a deflection. Only 20 minutes remaining in this game. So we won't be having the extra time and penalties that maybe some of us were hoping for earlier on. So Valon Barish is back on the field. He hasn't been replaced yet. Corner comes in. City just get it clear in the end. Sydney will recycle and need to get it forward here because I've got some players forward. Lolly's delivery is headed away. And Melbourne City should deal with this. Fast release. Lecky. That's a good challenge. Girdwood Reich. Youngster on the experienced Socceroo. Good challenge. Sydney FC Fan TV. Not enjoying it tonight. Says, get me out of here. Tough night for Sydney FC fans. It all started with that red card to Maxi Burgess. And then 3 goals for City. Look, credit to Sydney FC for making it this far this season. Overall, they were pretty average this season. Did well to get through to the semi-finals. But it was always going to be a tough task away to Melbourne City here in the semi-final. Second leg. Chance for another one here. Naboot off the right. Delivering. Oh my gosh, what a chance. McLaren was chilling out in the center of the box. And I couldn't find the touch. Couldn't find the touch. What else are we saying here? Give the young blokes a run. Now the margin is massive. Yep. It's one of those situations, hey, where you almost want to just give some young players a run, hey. Triple change for City. Talbot, Jamison, and Van der Ven all coming on. Barisha's coming off. O'Neill's coming off as well. Has come in and control that midfield really well, Aidan O'Neill. Scott Jamison into the game also. Triple change here for City. And Callum Talbot coming on for Curtis Good. Goal scorer tonight, Curtis Good. First goal of the season. The camera's currently on Alex Wilkinson. Maybe suggesting the commentary team and talking about him right now. Potentially, could this be the last game in a Sydney shirt for Alex Wilkinson? And maybe for Adam Lafondra and who else? We'll have to wait and see. But this is the final 15 minutes or so for the 2022-23 season for Sydney FC. Steve Corica has got his team to bounce back after they missed out on finals last season. They've made it through to the semis this year after finishing 5th. Sydney FC fans always expecting big things of their team, though. Sydney FC Fan TV says it could be Patrick Wood's last game, too. Needs to get himself on the field as well, hey? Patrick Wood on the bench, isn't he? Sydney win the ball high at the park. Good chance here. If they can work an opening. Joe Lolly on the ball. Gets the shot on. That's on target. Tom Glover down to make, I think that was his first save of the game. Spencer says, imagine Patrick Wood to Raw, just like in the career mode. That's right. We made that change to bring in Patrick Wood in our FIFA career mode series here on YouTube. Melbourne City 3. Sydney FC 0. That's 4-1 on aggregate to City. Melbourne City will be travelling to CommBank Stadium, Sydney, on June 3rd to take on either Adelaide or Central Coast Mariners for the 2023 Grand Final. Well deserved once again from Melbourne City. Always, year after year now, just the best team in the competition. Lost the Grand Final last year. They'll be looking to bounce back with a championship win here. But they'll have a tough contest coming up against either Mariners or Adelaide. Who will win the Women's World Cup? I would love to say the Matildas. And look, I'm gonna go with Matildas. Like, I think at home, I think the Matildas have there's a massive expectation around Australia to do well at our own Women's World Cup. But look, England should be right up there after coming off the Euros victory from last year. We know France, Brazil are good sides as well. Sweden a class, and of course the US. Don't have to say too much about the US. We all know the quality that they possess. So there's a number of teams who will be vying for the World Cup trophy here in Australia in a couple months' time. And of course, we'll be doing plenty of content around that as well. So make sure you stick around for that one. $12.01, random question. But if a player who has been an A-League player their whole career and retires, do you think they need a new job, or do they just retire from everything? A lot of them would continue work. A lot of them have studied. You know, Max Ballard, the Mariners player, has completed, I think, a law degree or something. Anyway, like we do say that a lot, how players study and have other careers that they can pursue. We saw a lot of players, of course, go into punditry and join commentary teams and become media personalities, which is always fun. Bobby, favorite Sydney FC player? Favorite Sydney FC player is probably Max Burgess, despite getting sent off tonight. I love the way he plays. I love his technical ability. He's an exciting player to watch. He's a versatile player. But this has been tonight was a poor night for Max Burgess, getting sent off early in the game. $15 minutes or so to go, including injury time. City could make it more here. Down the left, Tilio has options in the box. There's McLaren. Cleared away by Wilkinson. Offside flag is up. Melbourne City 3, Sydney FC 0. It's been a walk in the park for Melbourne City in the end in this second leg semi-final. And again, dude, I think we expected more. People were really excited to see this second leg after the first one ended 1-1. You know, Sydney FC really held their own in that first leg at home. I thought maybe they had, a chance heading into this second leg, but Melbourne City undefeated at home this season. And officially too, because of course the grand final's being played in Sydney. So Melbourne City in the 2022-23 season have gone undefeated at home. This will make it, I think it's 11 wins and 4 draws, or 3 draws. 11 wins, 3 draws. Someone correct me if I'm wrong there. Woo. Melbourne City preparing another change here. Interesting question from 1201. Asks, would you rather lose a grand final to a last-minute winner or lose 3-0? Honestly, lose 3-0. Yeah. What I'm interested to see what you guys think. What would be worse, losing a grand final to a last-minute winner or losing 3-0? I think losing 3-0. I think to concede a last-minute winner just would hurt so much. It'd be absolute heartbreak. Whereas 3-0 is like a slow death, you know? It's a slow defeat. So I reckon losing 3-0. I mean, obviously, you'd definitely rather win, but it's a tough one. Seagulls just love the stadium, says Alex. Dude, there's more seagulls on the pitch than there are Sydney FC players right now. Skyman's are scrambling on the box there was Adam Lafondra. Just couldn't get it away from his feet. And City haven't really been troubled at the back much at all this game. We're in the final 10 minutes. Melbourne City 3, Sydney 0. If you guys have enjoyed the live stream, make sure to hit the like button if you want to show support. I appreciate it. And if you're new here, we do plenty of A-Leagues content here on the channel. A few A-League Finals Matchday vlogs out on the channel now, which you can check out. Links in the description for those videos. City. Still going here. Nice move there, Joe Lolly. Still on the ball. Getting the pass away now. They're in their own defensive half, though, Sydney FC. This feels a little bit messy now for Sydney. That red card, I cannot... that red card, I just wonder what would have happened if that red card never happened. Here's Melbourne City, another great chance. Oh, what a finish. Oh, it's Richard van der Ven. It's a great goal, and it's 4-0. What a finish by the Dutchman. Left foot curler. Beautiful strike. That's 5-1 on aggregate now for Melbourne City, who in their second leg have turned it on big time. 4-0. City fans celebrate in the stands. Richard van der Ven, great signing, and he scored a semi-finals goal here. Here's a look at the replay. The space just opened up. Alex Wilkinson was a bit out of position. And look at that. Richard van der Ven just finding the space. And what a finish. Great finish. He was a long way out. He was outside the box. The placement. I mean, there was barely any power on it. It was just a matter of curling it into that far corner, and he did it. That's a beautiful goal from Richard van der Ven. Beautiful goal. Van der Ven, what a strike. Off the bench and onto the score sheet here for Melbourne City. 4-0. Scott Galloway's coming onto the pitch here to be replacing, I think it was Andrew Naboot. No, it's going to be Geordie Boss. So Geordie Boss applauding the crowd. Of course, the City fans know this is his last game at Amy Park in a Melbourne City shirt. He's getting a standing ovation here, and a well-deserved standing ovation. Geordie Boss, fantastic season for Melbourne City. Heading overseas for next season. That's his final game at Amy Park. Big moment for the kid. So Berengay's onto the field. Scott Galloway's on at left back as well. So this game, well, it's been over for a while. It's been over for about 20 minutes now. Sydney FC getting forward. Side netting there, Patrick Wood, who's come onto the field off the bench as well for Sydney FC. Matthew Leckie's departed the field to be replaced by Berengay. Adam Lafondra has departed the fields to be replaced by Patrick Wood. That could be a last game for Sydney for Adam Lafondra. Could be. 36 years of age. Do they choose to extend the English striker's contract for next season? What do you think, Sydney fans? Look, he's had a really strong finish to the season. I mean, he's finishing it with 6 goals in 6 games. Couldn't continue that run here, though. Who would you like to see get a Socceroos call-up one day? Good question. Good question. Let's see. Nectar Triantis. I love him at Mariners. I think Josh Nisbet could well deserve a call-up as well. Sammy Silvera. I know I'm just picking Mariners players. Chance for City. Great save, Redmayne. They almost made it 5. Redmayne, great reflexes. Other players who I'd love to see get a Socceroos call-up. Let's see. I think Adrian Segicic has a Socceroos future. I think Callum Neuenhoff isn't too far off as well. There's some good young players there. Really, really good young players coming through. Another corner for City. This one headed away. They could make it 5 here, City. They could make it 5. Look, Sydney started this game pretty well defensively. They were holding out Melbourne City for most of that first half. They did all right, but they couldn't hold on. Love to see Try Cartruan get a call-up to Spencer Moture. Yeah, definitely Moture. Definitely Moture. Playing in the first division in France now, which is great for young Aussie striker Moture. Plenty of options. Final moments of this match, where it's been a Melbourne City masterclass. Regardless, and here's the thing, regardless of who Melbourne City play in the grand final, they'll be favourites. There's no doubt about that. They'll be favourites, man. Even if Mariners smash Adelaide tomorrow night, Melbourne City will be favourites. They've been the best team across the whole season. They've been too strong. And look at Melbourne City. Well, you can see Melbourne City, they're not lifting their foot off the pedal. Even when Sydney looks to get forward, Melbourne City players run back in defence to shut it down. This has been a truly professional performance. But it just makes me wonder if Max Burgess was never sent off in that first half, would this game have played out differently? Maybe. There's the Sydney fans in the stands, Sydney FC fans in the crowd, still chanting and singing. Sky Blues fans will be hoping for better next season. Will Steve Corica be there for next season as well? Will Corica be there? Questions that I'm sure will be answered soon enough. Thoughts on Matty Ryan at AZ Alkmaar? Yeah, I mean, this morning, hey, it's disappointing for Ryan to be knocked out of the Conference League semi-final against West Ham. I watched the highlights this morning. He made a couple good saves, didn't he? Chance for City to make it 5 here. Good save, Redmayne, getting down to that one. 89th minute. Melbourne City. 3 changes to the lineup in this game. Aidan O'Neill came in. Thomas Lamb dropped into defence. Matthew Leckie started in that advanced midfield position. Do they go for that same lineup? It's really curious to see, what City do for that lineup next week. Do they go for that aggressive lineup once again, starting, that front 4 of Naboot, McLaren, Tilio, Leckie, which is just a ridiculous front 4. So much talent in that front 4. Spencer says, I hope you have a blast of the game tomorrow. Thanks, man. Says, I'll be wearing my Cummings All-Stars jersey. Would love to see the Mariners win it this year. Cheers, Spencer. That'd be a nice jersey. Cummings All-Star jersey. Very nice. City getting forward once again. Vandervan, great chance. Redmayne with the save once again. Dude, if it wasn't for Socceroo Andrew Redmayne, this would be 6 or 7-0. This would be a lot more. A lot more. What's the best non-Central Coast Mariners match you've been to? To be fair, I haven't been to many. So probably the Sydney Derby from the elimination final. That was a great game. We did the vlog for that one, which is up on the channel. That was probably the best non-Central Coast Mariners match I've been to. Pumpkins in the chat says, the red card is a distraction in this game. City have been way, way above Sydney's level from minute one. Indeed, they have. It's been absolute domination from Melbourne City. When was your first ever game? 2005. 2005, when I was a kid. A wee lad. Yeah, back in season 1, I went to my first Mariners game. 05, 06. And then joined as a member a couple of years later, and haven't missed many games since. I love this grand final prediction. Mariners 2, City 1. When does the next A-League season start? Asks Bobby. It should be around October. Early October, I think is when we're expecting. Maybe September, but it should be October. But yeah, we don't have a locked-in date just yet. Don't have a locked-in date just yet. Bloody hell, was only one then, says Spencer. Yeah, it sort of shows my age a little bit, I guess. But yeah, that was a big reason, going to that first game. It was a big reason why I was sort of so passionate about the A-League and my team, the Mariners. It's because I really grew up with it, And that's the exciting thing about the A-League. I mean, people got to remember the A-League is still such a young, growing competition. But there's now people, like you guys, where the league's been around since you were born, sort of thing. So, there's a new young generation coming into it. Full time. Dude, they only added on 1 minute. Dude, they only just added on 1 minute. Oh my gosh, that's kind of funny. And they only added on 1 minute. I've never seen that in a second half. I don't think I've seen that in a long, long time. But it's full time. Melbourne City, as we've known for a while now, are going through to the grand final. 4-0 over Sydney FC. That's 5 on an aggregate. It's all done, ladies and gentlemen. It's all done. Dingo says, come on, City. Oh my goodness. Easy in the end, isn't it? Very easy indeed. Oh my goodness. Wow. Spencer says my first game was 2012 Raw v Sydney at Suncorp. 2-1 last minute winner by Barisha. Barisha nearly got in the fight. I remember that game. The fight with what's his name? The centre back from Sydney FC. Pascal someone. I don't know. Or it wasn't Petkovic, was it? I recall that game, Spencer. I remember watching that game. There you go. First game was January 2017. So that's the thing, and that's the cool thing. There's people from all different sort of, age demographics and people coming into it later and earlier and everything. It's interesting. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Melbourne City are going through the A-League Grand Final for 2023 after a very solid performance against Sydney FC. Really impressive from Melbourne City. That red card really affected that game. Sydney FC were defending well, but Melbourne City were coming, and that red card really made it difficult for Sydney to create much at all in attack. So cost indeed right. City Grand Final for them. What a game that was! Indeed, that was. Wow. So we prepare for tomorrow night, Adelaide United Central Coast Mariners, to decide who will be taking on Melbourne City in the grand final in a couple of weeks' time at CommBank Stadium. Really excited for the match, obviously, being a Mariners fan. It's going to be a massive occasion for the Central Coast. Hoping my Mariners can get a win. We'll be doing a vlog for the match, so keep an eye on that one. But tonight, we have seen Melbourne City absolutely outclass Sydney FC tonight. Huge win for Melbourne City, entering yet another grand final. They always seem to get there for the last few years now, consistently finishing there and making it through to the final match of the season. Congratulations to Melbourne City. Sydney FC's season is over. Was that the last game for Alex Wilkinson, Adam Lafondra, maybe Steve Corica? Will he move on after this season? Credit to Sydney FC. They went through all the way through, one game away from the grand final, but the season is over for the Sky Blues. Guys, thanks so much for tuning in tonight. This has been a really fun watch along. Some good chat in the comments section, in the live chat here. As always, thanks so much for tuning in. If you have enjoyed, hit the like button on the stream. We've got episode 5 of the Brisbane Roar Career Mode, which came out today, so check that out afterwards if you haven't. My vlog from the Sydney City first leg semi-final is out on the channel as well, so check out that vlog if you haven't done so as well. But I hope you enjoy your weekend coming up. I hope you enjoy the semi-final tomorrow night, whether you're heading to Central Coast Stadium, whether you're watching from elsewhere. Hope you enjoy the football. And then we've got a grand final coming up after that. Spencer's in the chat, says, have fun tomorrow. Thanks so much, man. I appreciate it. And thank you guys tuning in. As always, this has been another Coast Watch Football live watch along. Have a great night, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.